Nachos are soggy, the outside starts crispy, but as soon as you get into the center, they turn to mush. If that's ever happened to you, I'm gonna show you a fix by using crispy smashed potatoes instead. This right here is everything we're going to need, plus the additions of salt, pepper, and oil.
I've got 800 grams, about 1 3/4 pounds of baby potatoes. Place them into a large pot and fill them with enough cold water to cover them by about an inch. We always start in cold water, that way they can come to temp at the same time and cook at the same rate. Place them onto your stovetop, put it over a high heat and bring this up to a boil. Season them with salt and cook for about 15 to 16 minutes or until they're just fork tender. Next for the cheese is 120 grams or 4 ounces of mozzarella cheese. I'm using fresh mozzarella here and grating it on the larger side of a box grater, and I'm also using 100 grams or 3.5 ounces of cheddar cheese. And to be honest with you, I kind of regret using the cheddar cheese. I actually use smoked cheddar to try and change it up a little bit, but I do just recommend using double the amount of mozzarella cheese. I also always say grate your fresh cheeses here, but you can use the store-bought stuff for this recipe. Just do whatever's cheapest for you. I've got 2 spring onions or scallions. It's an optional ingredient. Don't go out and buy a whole bunch just to use 2. But if you do have it, all I'm doing is thinly slicing this the whole way across into small thin rounds. You can do it on an angle to create those diamond or oval shaped pieces. And this is going to be used as a garnish at the end. Just quickly jumping back to the potatoes, the water is now at a boil. Leave it over a boil and cook these for about 15 to 16 minutes or until they're fork tender. We want them to be soft, but we don't want them to be completely breaking apart. For another topping, I'm using 1 avocado. Depending on size, you may need 2. Just slice around the seed and open it up and then carefully remove that seed. Scoop the flesh out into a bowl, add a touch of salt to use as an abrasive, as well as a seasoning of course, and then mash this up until it's nice and fine, or you can leave it a little bit chunky depending on your preference. I also like to add in a touch of lime. I'm going to start with about half of a lime, just juice that in there. These ones weren't actually that juicy, so I did end up using the whole lime, but always season to taste, and you should have something that looks like this. Now into another small bowl, mix together 1.5 teaspoons or 6 grams of smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon or 4 grams of garlic powder, and then just a small pinch of salt as well as cracked black pepper. Give that a quick stir, and this is going to be our seasoning that we're going to sprinkle over the potatoes once they've been smashed. After about 15 to 16 minutes, those potatoes are now fork tender. Carefully remove them from the stovetop and then pour them into a colander to drain. And we want to allow these to cool down for about 15 to 20 minutes and for as much moisture to drain off of those potatoes as possible. There is a little trick where you can place it back into the pot over a medium heat and cook them for about 2 minutes just to dry them out, but that choice is all yours. Place them onto a tray lined with parchment paper and then get yourself a glass and just rub it with a light bit of oil and then push down to smash these potatoes. The thinner they are, the crispier they'll get, and if you want to do this over 2 trays to avoid crowding, they will crisp up a lot faster. But I like to just smash them all into one tray and it kind of just blends into a whole big piece of smashed potato. It works out really well, but there's many choices and many different ways you can do this. However you've done it, drizzle them up with about 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, and then we can season it with the spice blend that we made, getting every little nook and cranny and all of the little pieces that are uncovered. With that done, into the oven they go at 220 Celsius or 425 Fahrenheit, which is very hot, and that high heat drives off any moisture quickly, which is exactly what we want. Cook them for about 15 minutes and then flip them over if you can, or just cook them for 25 minutes on one side, and what you should have is these golden potatoes that are extremely crispy. It's then time to cover them with the cheese. Go over with the mozzarella and the cheddar if you're using it, or just use straight mozzarella like I said, which I do actually recommend. Make sure you cover the complete surface area and try your best not to get it on the tray, otherwise it sticks and then you can end up pulling most of the topping off. Place this back into the oven for about 5 to 7 minutes at the same temperature until the cheese is melted, bubbling, and starting to brown all over. Now with serving up, what I have here is about 120 grams of sour cream mixed with about 2 teaspoons of water to make it pourable. It's in a squeezy bottle so I can drizzle it over the top. Spoon over the avocado as much or as little as you like, and you can do this with the sour cream as well. You don't have to make it into a pourable mixture. You also don't have to serve it up the way I'm doing it. If you've used 2 trays, you probably won't have the potatoes stuck together like what I have, so you can portion it out and make individual portions. Next to go on is the salsa. I like to use this to fill in any of the blanks, and I'm using a mild version here. You can use spicy, mild, or don't even use it if you don't like it. That choice is all yours. Add over a few pickled jalapeños for that acidity and heat. Top it with the thinly sliced spring onion or scallion if you're using it. And finally, top it with a little bit of finely chopped coriander or cilantro.
That then leaves us with this nice crispy base, gooey cheese, and a nice mix of toppings. Of course, you can use all sorts of toppings of your choice, just make it your own. But there's only one thing left to do, and that is we can then dig in. If soggy nachos ever let you down, this is the fix.